5.6 million asked to evacuate Florida ahead of Hurricane Irma. Roughly 1/4 of the nation's third-largest state has either been asked or ordered to evacuate, according to an official. Florida's hurricane program manager, Andrew Sussman, said at least 5.6 million people have been asked to flee the storm, according to the Associated Press. This includes residents ordered to evacuate in South Florida, as well as those who live in substandard housing inland, the report added. The state is home to some 21 million people, many of which have temporarily relocated to Georgia or other neighboring states ahead of Irma's severe impacts. So far, some 850,000 Floridians have been urged to leave their homes as Irma churns ever closer to the U.S. coastline. Time is running out, said Florida Gov. Rick Scott during a Friday morning press conference. Today is the day to do what's right for your family and get inland for safety. Scott has repeatedly warned residents to heed warnings, stressing that the sole focus is on life safety. We are preparing for the storm aggressively. Every Floridian should take this seriously and be aggressive to protect their family, Scott said. Miami Beach Mayor Philip Levine echoed the governor. Please leave Miami Beach, Levine said during an interview on the Weather Channel. You don't want to be here. This is a barrier island. This hurricane, as I've said before, is a nuclear hurricane. Please leave. You have time today. We don't want heroes. We want living people. As residents departed Florida ahead of major Hurricane Irma, officials in Miami were taking no chances with its homeless population. According to the Associated Press, all of the estimated 1,100 homeless in the city were told to enter storm shelters or be detained and receive a mental health evaluation. They were using the Baker Act, a law that allows officials to institutionalize anyone who presents a danger to themselves or others, the AP also said. We're going out and every single homeless person who is unwilling to come off the street, we are likely going to involuntarily Baker Act them, Ron Book, chairman of the Miami-Dade Homeless Trust, told the AP. At least 6 people were detained in such a manner by Friday afternoon, the report added. By law, they can be held for up to 72 hours before a court would have to allow their detention to be continued, the AP also said. President Donald Trump said Hurricane Irma is a storm of absolutely historic destructive potential, adding that his administration is doing all it can to help with disaster preparations, and the U.S. stands united to address the storm. Former FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate was more direct in an interview with CNN. Let me be blunt, anybody who didn't evacuate will drown, that's the risk. Here's the latest. Scott ordered evacuations in cities surrounding the southern half of Lake Okeechobee from Lakeport to Canal Point in Hendry, Palm Beach and Glades counties. The cities include Belglade, Canal Point, Lewiston, Lake Harbor, Moorhaven, Pahokee, and South Bay. Tampa ordered mandatory evacuations for all residents in Zone A, effective 2 p.m. Friday. Mandatory evacuations are underway in Pasco County for all residents living west of U.S. 19, and in Pinellas County, residents in the level evacuation zone are also evacuating. In Manatee County, evacuations in the level evacuation zone are now mandatory. In Sarasota County, a mandatory evacuation order was issued Thursday for residents living in Zone A. Florida's emergency management officials say nearly 6,000 people are already huddling in shelters across the state. All Florida public schools, state colleges and universities will remain closed through Monday. Florida State University announced it will remain closed through Tuesday. Scott asked gas stations to stay open as long as possible and said he would arrange for police escorts for employees to get out when needed. FEMA Director Brock Long said Friday 8,000 workers were being deployed to Florida. Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price declared a public health emergency in Florida Thursday, in addition to Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Scott activated 7,000 members of the Florida National Guard Thursday to help with evacuations, sheltering and the aftermath of the storm. Scott has rescinded all weight and driver restrictions on the highways and also suspended all tolls for the duration of the storm's impacts to Florida so water, food, fuel and emergency supplies can be brought in quickly. Scott said Friday school buses will be made available to help cities evacuate. Throughout the state, residents are making one last run on water, gas and other essentials ahead of the storm, With shelves quickly emptying, Scott said they are moving fuel into the state to address gas shortages. He urged residents to only take as much fuel as necessary. Prison officials in Florida have been forced to conduct the largest evacuation of prisoners in state history, moving more than 7,000 inmates from work camps and community release centers to more secure facilities. Scott said he has asked all Florida hotels to waive pet restrictions as thousands flee. Walt Disney World in Orlando announced it would close for at least 2 days beginning Sunday. The U.S. Postal Service has suspended deliveries and retail operations in South Florida until further notice. Comcast has opened 137,000 Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots across Florida to help people trying to evacuate. Street. Pete Clearwater International Airport closed 11 a.m. Friday, airport officials announced. Orlando International Airport will shut down 5 p.m. EDT Saturday and Ft. Lauderdale at 7:45 p.m. EDT Saturday. Miami International Airport will halt all flights Friday night. From Florida to Georgia, some 1.4 million people have been told to leave their homes.